Okay, you ready? The meeting will please come to order. Adequate notice of this meeting as required by the Open Public Meeting Act that's on May 21st, 2025, a revised resolution stating our new dates was posted on the bulletin board outside of Borough Hall, given to the clerk administrator, mailed, faxed, or emailed to the Courier News, and posted on the borough website. If any member believes that this meeting is being held in violation of the Open Public Meeting Act, please state your views at this time. Hearing none, next item, roll call, please.
Chairman Adair.
Here.
Ed Allett is excused. Roberta Karpinitz.
Here.
Morgan McLaughlin. Here. Rich O'Neill.
Here.
Brian Vadimski.
Here.
John Flores.
Here.
Eric Alvarez.
Here.
Stuart Daniels.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum. Do we have any conflicts? Okay, next item, Pledge of Allegiance. Next item on the agenda. Brian.
Minutes for July 2nd.
Someone like to move the minutes?
I'll move them.
Move in second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Chairman Adair.
Yes.
Roberta Karpinitz.
Yes.
Morgan McLaughlin.
Yes.
Rich O'Neill.
Yes.
Brian Vadimski.
Yes.
John Flores.
Yes.
Eric Alvarez.
Yes.
Okay, resolutions.
Mr. Chairman, we have a resolution for Nishant Tyagi. Oh, I'm sorry. We have a resolution for Nishant Tyagi. I hope that is appropriate pronunciation. 2 Fairview Avenue, Block 51, Lot 24, for a maximum FAR variance together with other variances under C. Actually, the FAR is under NJSA 4055D-70D4. We also had 4 other variances under NJSA 40:55D-70C1. Based on the fact this is an undersized lot, significantly undersized lot, and the strict application of the zoning ordinance requirements for the R3 zone would have affected a hardship for the proposed development. I have prepared a resolution in accordance with the proceedings that evening and did distribute it before the evening. I made one minor change in that one variance had to be added, which was the lot area variance, because though it's a pre-existing condition, we can grant a variance for it, so we added that. Other than that, I commend the resolution to the board for any questions or adoption.
Would someone like to move the resolution?
I'll move it.
Moved? Moved second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Roberta Karpinitz.
Yes.
Rich O'Neill.
Yes.
John Flores.
Yes.
Eric Alvarez.
Yes.
Carried. Okay. What do we have next? Okay. We have the land use applications, sorry,
22 Prospect.
22 Prospect.
Would you please enter your appearance?
Oh, sorry. Juan David Correa.
You're the applicant?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Will you be, and you have a witness with you? Can I, well, first of all, let me let me swear you in.
Yes,
Need to stand, raise your right hand. You solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, so help you God.
yes, sir, I do.
Please state your name and spell your last name for the record.
Juan David Correa, Correa.
Very good, sir. Is this your expert witness?
Yes, sir.
Why don't we swear him in right now? Would you please raise your right hand? You solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, so help you God.
Yes, I do.
Please state your name and spell your last name for the record, sir.
Robert Hernandez, architect. Hernandez, Hernandez.
Very
My
good.
office is in Metuchen, New Jersey.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Turn it back over to the chairman.
Mr. Correa, you're appearing pro se? You're
yeah.
representing yourself?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tell us what you want to do and why we should approve it.
Great, thanks, and thank you for your time, board members. I am the homeowner of 22 Prospect Drive. I've lived in Somerville, in this property for about 6 years with my wife and my 8-year-old son. It's been a great 6 years. I've been all over the country. This is probably one of the best neighborhoods I've ever been living
Thank
in.
you.
Could you speak into the microphone? Just want to.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So my property is 4 beds, 3 baths, it's about 1,900 square feet. It was built in 1957. It sits in about an acre, a third of an acre of a lot. My property is a ranch-style home from the front, but in the back, it has a walkout basement. So from the back, it's really a two-story home. When I purchased the house 6 years ago, it was newly renovated. We fell in love with it. However, upon inspection, prior to closing, they noted that the deck was a safety hazard. The support beams, they're metal beams and they're rotting. Columns. Well, CPA, not an architect. Thank you. The columns are eroding and just really safety hazard there. The wood is older wood, and it uses the older style nails that keep on protruding and really coming off. And about 5 years ago, before I get into that, I want to set the expectation that my deck sits at the same level as my kitchen and my living room. So the deck is really my backyard. I don't really go to the basement to my backyard. And I think that's important for the board to know. In February 2021, I applied, and I was denied. And because of the COVID shortage, I gave up on the application. Today, because we have decided that this is going to be our home forever, I am applying for a variance to build a slightly larger deck with staircases so that we can come in and out of the house easily through staircases and not have to go through the basement. The basement is really not an area that we use. Some things to note. Every year I do something to improve my property aesthetically. I've painted it. I planted about 10 pine trees, about 20 bushes in the back. I am aware that I have to probably fix the sidewalk, and that's something that I've been looking into. All to say that I am very interested in making sure that my house looks good and that my neighbors are comfortable with me being part of the neighborhood. And right now, as it stands, if you look at the deck, it's really an eyesore in so many different ways. And so I'm here asking the board for permission to really build out this deck because I think it would really benefit myself, my family, and the neighborhood.
Very good.
I'll add that the property is well maintained. I did a site inspection. It looks nice.
Thank you, sir.
And you got the report in front of them. I'm not concerned with stormwater runoff because it goes down to the creek. It's a walkout basement, as the applicant has said, so staircases on the second floor, which is common for a walkout basement. And he's looking for a staircase to go back to the grounds. And the staircase is really the thing that's kicking it over the extension. It's got a patio below it that you have for a walkout. Driveway's in good shape. Just has some leveling for the sidewalk whenever the board feels about street trees. Other than that, I think it's a great looking property.
I'd like to jump in right now. First off, I feel embarrassed that we're having a hearing over something that should be approved by a committee or something.
Second that.
This is absolutely bizarre and nuts, expensive and time consuming.
Well, yeah, we looked at this before. I can't put a bay window on my house because it's side yard. Okay. And we've gone through this before with, where the cost of the process exceeds the cost of the project.
Yeah, that's my point.
But the way the statute is and the way our land use laws are, we can't give our zoning officer the authority to go ahead and say, well, you need a 25-foot setback, you only have 24, okay, we'll do it. Because the next guy or person comes in, well, 23 is okay, 22. So.
Our zoning is antiquated. It's gotta be looked at.
That's-
But this is, I mean, it's bizarre. That,
Unfortunately-
I don't know how, when you started the project, but I'm hoping you get to put a Christmas tree up there to get this thing done. You know, I mean, it's just, I don't, quite frankly, and I know I'm gonna get yelled at by the attorney, I don't need to hear this. I'll make a motion that we.
We
approve it.
have to, we have to, because
Well, we have
somebody may file an appeal, and, well, they didn't present the whole thing, so we have to hear it.
Let's have the
As much
clip
as
version.
I would love to hit the gavel right now and say, thank you. But I don't think that's the truth.
Could you just tell me why it was originally denied? Or
It exceeds the improvement coverage, and the deck and the staircase exacerbate the existence, the exceedance.
Yeah, I'm looking at the rear yard. I mean, it's literally by, what, 4 or 5 feet here? If you look at, right, I mean, this is ridiculous.
It's the law.
These are C2 variances. I mean, yeah, they're not particularly onerous, but unfortunately, the law is what it is. Yeah, this is where I come in being the bad guy, but
I'll agree with that.
I unfortunately, I have to accept the mantle of that, but I mean, that's kind of the way our land use laws work. You know, these are not particularly, these are not the heaviest variances I have seen either previously or will I see them tomorrow night in any other town I represent. So, I think the point is, you know, I would defer to our planner, who certainly is of an opinion, I believe, that these are, that, you know, that the statutory criteria can be met.
Yeah, just so the applicant knows, you got a 6 or 7 page letter. Typically, an applicant will get a 20 or 30 page letter because of the nature of this, and that just the property's in good shape, and the walkout, I think a deck on the second floor off the kitchen or the living room is totally appropriate and it is customary, and it's what you do in the walkout. Of course you do it. And the staircase to go to the backyard from to the deck is pretty common practice.
Mr. Cole, this is one of your shorter letters.
Yeah,
I must say.
I did my site inspection. I think the property looks great. I had some questions about he's using Trex. I think he's using Trex for the decking and for the rail. I had some questions about the color and whether the Trex will be used on the staircase. There's a landing and a turn on the staircase, and just the colors, and go over what's going on out there in terms of what the decking material is going to be, just for edification, just to add some color to the project.
Yeah, so it will be Trex transcendent deck colors. It'll be white Azeka fascia stringers and risers, Trex LED lighting package. It'll be white and brown.
Basically, only the understructure is going to be made out of pressure-treated lumber. But all of the surfaces that you can really see would have a Trex finish. And I don't know if later he would like to, there's a product from Trex where below the deck joist, you can attach it's like a wavy material. I forgot what it's called. And
Finish it
basically,
off, yeah.
It becomes, you don't get water on the area below, on your patio, which he intends to redo.
Yeah, I want to
Directly
talk
below
about
the deck.
the patio. So when I purchased the home, there was two concrete pads, and it looked like this is before they had dryers. They used to use clotheslines, right? I removed those pads. There was a homemade grill. I knocked down the grill because, again, it was an eyesore. The patio itself is very antiquated, concrete. I would love to knock down that concrete pad and then put nice pavers, just to make sure it looks nice with the deck.
I just want to clarify, this is your family's home, correct?
Yes,
At
sir.
present, yes, that's fine. I appreciate you clarifying that.
If the board would be so inclined, I would recommend that we put some flexibility in the resolution to account for the walkout patio, maybe a few more percentage in case you need to put a different walkway or play with it. If it's 3% or 5% over right now, and he finds out digging the patio out that he wants to go slightly bigger and it makes sense, I don't want to see him hamstringed on an extra 2 or 3% for the patio.
Yeah,
Should the
I
board agree with that? I'd like to see
Understood.
that some flexibility in the resolution to address down the road. If that makes sense to the board.
Yeah, it's a practical solution to a non-problem.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see polka dots as far as the painting goes.
Yes, sir.
Anybody from the board have any questions of the testimony just given by Mr. Correa?
I have two questions. One is, you were there, you were in the building for Ida, when Ida came, the hurricane?
When the two houses exploded?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. How high does that water get in your backyard? Does it come up to your driveway?
No.
It does not, so it stays all in the wetlands down
Yes.
there?
Goes the other way.
Yeah. The second question is, why two architects?
Go ahead, explain.
Initially, and this is my first home, I didn't quite understand this whole, and forgive me saying this archaic process. And so when I realized I couldn't do this myself, I gave up and I told the architect, I'm giving up. But again, because this is gonna be my home forever, my wife and his wife are friends.
Good.
So he started, he hired the other architect, I think in 2019, 2020, and then couldn't do the job because of the pandemic and of the denial letter, the zoning denial. I redid everything. I got him a new zoning denial, and then we went through the process just to, we don't want to charge him again for construction drawings that are perfect, that are well drawn by the other architect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Anybody from the audience have any questions? Okay,
Want to run out there and sit there?
got to do it. Yeah, got to do it.
You would have no objection to having, if the board were inclined to approve this, I'd like to have Mr. Cole's report, compliance with it as a condition of approval. I presume that will not be a problem.
Can we discuss a few things from the, there's an item there that says that 2 trees need to be planted. My client had, street trees. Now, over the last 5, 6 years that he's lived there, he's told me that he's put up like 10 trees. They're not street trees. So can we get a waiver on that, or how would you handle that?
Waiver costs you $650 per tree.
Yeah, I'll pay it.
Okay.
Okay.
I have no problem with
What
that.
else? We're gonna
Anybody
fix
else
the,
on board have any problem with that?
we're gonna fix the sidewalk or the connector sidewalk between his neighbors and his property.
I don't think we should make that a
What is
condition.
the other item? No, that was it, right?
Well, that was identified in Mr. Cole's report. I saw that,
Just
so.
leveling off. The sidewalk's in good shape, just some of the slabs.
They're not slabs, that's poured.
The slab, the pour is
Yeah.
tilted. It's not like a million cracks or potholes or,
From street
it's
trees?
just not level. So I think he might be able to just re-level it without replacing. It might be more cost effective just to replace the one.
Just
slab,
grind it.
The pour, Rick.
Just grind it and make it level too, remember that, so.
Do we need to make that part of this to hold up a CO, or can, this guy takes care of his property? You know, you go into Home Depot to buy a deck and you come out with a sidewalk. I mean,
No, it would be on the plans that sometime prior to finishing the deck, he would address these items.
Right.
It wouldn't be up front now, to answer your question. It would be sometime before he's finished it to address the sidewalk.
Can I get a better explanation on the tree, on the trees requirement, on the tree requirement?
It's every 50
Every
feet
50 feet.
of street frontage, street trees required.
Okay.
And the property has 100 feet or so, a little over that is a curve of frontage, so it's 2 street trees.
And then, Mr. Chairman, you suggested,
if we were to grant a waiver, our ordinance requires contribution be made to the Environmental Commission, and right now that's $650 per tree.
The history is about 10 years ago, it was $350 a tree, and the Environmental Commission thought they couldn't buy the tree and plant it with the tree is planted on public streets within the borough, as delegated by the Environmental Commission. So
Yeah,
we
trying to
raised that
reforest
to
the town.
$650, I wanna say about 10 years ago.
He's got two big trees right in his front yard. I mean, I don't understand why you got two big, you're gonna take down those two
Wanna
and
wait?
put the two up. I mean,
Yeah, I kind of agree because, especially since the utility poles are on his side of the street.
Yes,
If he
they
put
are.
if he put the trees in,
It had to be a low canopy tree.
Yeah.
And there are trees on the lawn about 30, 35 feet away on the front lawn look, it's the utilities that cause the canopy. It can't be a big street tree because of that,
we have
in my opinion.
we have a long-standing tradition in this town of planting trees under utility wires. So that they
Hey,
can-
that was in the last hearing.
well, I mean, but my point is that people who live on the side of the street where the utility poles are, they're more inclined to have to pay the $650 than to plant the tree.
Right.
Or to
We've
do a
seen
low,
more
or a low
trees, but
canopy.
We use trees like Japanese tree, low canopy trees to try to stop the
Right.
V happening in the utility.
Yeah, that's what happens, they end up getting saw cut. To me, that's almost like extortion, but whatever.
What if, you want to make a motion to that effect?
That's extortion.
No, that,
I'm in a mood tonight, you can tell.
that he doesn't have to put the trees in.
Yeah, I'd support that.
Or the-
I'd support that.
I would support that.
Okay, fine. We'll mark that, no trees.
So we're gonna give him a waiver?
So that would be a waiver for the
Okay.
trees, do the leveling, only condition would be basically level the sidewalk.
But I can still build, but before I get inspected, level the sidewalk, assuming
have
that
to-
everybody approves.
It would be a condition that prior to final approval of the deck, that you have the sidewalks addressed. They wouldn't have to be now.
Okay.
It would not hold up your construction permit.
No.
You would have to make some notes on the plan saying, we're gonna re-level the sidewalks. Mr. Horrendous would put the notes, I think I have a note saying, put the bulk table out of mind. So he would revise these plans based on the resolution of approval.
Correct.
Deem it compliant, you would go to construction, then sometime when you have the deck done, you would say, I'm done, I want final inspection of the deck. At that time, I would go out and make sure that the sidewalk is addressed in
We're
some
not,
fashion.
we're not trying to make it harder on
No.
you. And the fact is in connection with the leveling, I mean, remember too, that if someone were to be injured or something like that, it becomes a liability issue for you.
Yeah, it's been on my mind, and I've looked into this, and
Yeah.
I know the borough has a program. I think they pay half of it or something like that. I've gone on the website, so I am going to do it. I'm just thoughtful of, if I have somebody lining up to do the deck, is that going to hold it up? But I think you answered
Oh,
that question.
I understand.
No, I only saw like 10 feet, it's only like 2 or 3 slabs, as Rich says, they're pouring that are not level. It's not the whole sidewalk. It's a couple of areas. So it would be, should the board approve it, a condition that you do this, but you wouldn't have to do it until your project is, I would encourage that, because if the contractor's running over the sidewalk, if something gets screwed up, you want to fix these things on the end. So I always usually say in the report, post-construction, if any sidewalks are damaged, you will fix it. That's usually a note on the plans is what I'm getting at, and something we address on the back end.
Understood.
Okay. Anything else on Mr. Cole's report? Mr. Cole's report's usually equivalent to War and Peace.
Now, it's,
Not this one, this is the Reader's Digest.
This
Yeah,
one
well-
is Cliff Notes.
it's a board, I don't know the board,
Intended.
we had a pool next door. So the board's about 5 years ago, 21 or 20 Prospect, maybe it's 24, the house towards the north got approval from this board to put a pool in. So I'm a little familiar with it, and I checked, he's not in the flood hazard, he's not in the wetlands buffer, to answer Morgan's comment. He's high and dry, and the stormwater management's, in my opinion, not impacting anyone and increasing impervious because it's going to the east, down the bank, and essentially into the creek. So I don't see an impact from the backyard as, in anyone's.
I hate to say it, but I remember when they built that house.
Yeah.
You remember when they built the White House?
Just the addition.
Well, the history of the Prostrate Drive was, that was part of the Rubin estate, and they sold off the lots, right, as time went by. That was all one farm at one point. Yeah,
Yes.
I think that's what it was, and when the house 3, 4 up from you, heading towards Mountain, with the greenhouse, that's the old farmhouse.
That's still there.
With the the glass is missing, but the greenhouse is still sitting there on the old barnhouse that was converted to a dwelling. And at one point, I think the sisters who own the property, the mother, I think lives there. Yeah, right? It's getting scary. After 20 years, I actually know these stories. Some of these board members are saying, I'm the pup, so.
It was Alva Clark's house. originally.
Right?
Yeah. Well, board, what's your pleasure?
Make a motion to approve as submitted.
I'll second it.
Been moved, seconded?
Does that include the waiver for the trees?
Yeah, includes the waiver and the approval of the variance and subject to compliance with the Cole report, and our standard conditions of approval, which are essentially make sure your escrows are paid and taxes are paid and
Yeah.
comply with any and all other regulations of the county and state.
And-
Morgan, would you retract your motion? We gotta make a motion to, close the public portion. Moved.
Second.
Second. Now, would someone like to move the application?
Second that.
Go ahead, Rich.
Robert's rules.
I'll move whatever he just said.
Moved and second for approval of the application. Any comments?
I still want my polka dots.
Great plan, thank you for
Yeah, really,
being a great neighbor.
No, appreciate it. Thank you for your
Very
time.
nice, very nice plan, I must say,
really.
very impressive.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Beautiful family home.
Thank you for investing in our town.
Really.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
We need a vote.
Yeah, we need roll call.
Okay, yes, we do.
Chairman Adair,
Yes.
Roberta Karpinitz.
Yes.
Morgan McLaughlin.
Yes.
Rich O'Neill.
Yes.
Brian Vadimski.
Yes.
John Flores.
Yes.
Eric Alvarez.
Yes.
Stuart Daniels.
Yes.
Gary,
Congratulations.
Thank you, board.
Thank you, appreciate
I
it.
will prepare a resolution, we'll coordinate. If there's any questions, we'll be in touch, but I'll prepare a resolution and a memorialization. It should be adopted, I would think it would be adopted at our next meeting.
yep,
Great. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
thank you.
Have a good evening, stay dry.
That's the problem, is some of these small projects, the application, this whole thing costs more than a damn project.
Yeah.
And we're gonna put a deck up next year, and I gotta go through this at my place.
So how do we fix that?
Well, we're gonna be redoing the zoning, the master plan and the zoning ordinance next year, or end of this year.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a process, and it's just seeking input on the things that we see. You know, we see, as we did with the POR, we see these things, we need to give the input to the planning board, because this is what we see, along with Michael's reports. And we start to see trends. We did,
Annual reports make a difference in that connection because they show where the trends are going.
Yeah, I mean, this board has been so busy post-COVID because people are, in my opinion, living at home, working at home, and attics are being finished, basements. People love to be in Somerville and just trying to maximize the space, and it's causing this board a lot of applications. I mean, heck, we're meeting twice a month right now until we get rid of the backlog. We haven't met twice a month in 20 years before this.
Well,
That's how busy the board's been.
You make another very good point that I think since COVID, people are more interested in home and hearth.
I have a question. When we gave you 13 copies signed and sealed from the other architect, the deck construction drawings, do we get any of them back, or you keep them?
Do you want them back?
Because I need 5 for zoning, I need 2 for zoning and 3 for the building permit.
If they're to scale, if they're for scale, I think the construction department will take them. I just don't know if they're to scale.
Here's one of them, yeah, so.
They don't mind.
Ryan? Ryan?
Here's another. Yeah.
I'm gonna keep mine because I need them for the resolution.
I like this one better anyway. Yeah, simple.
Have mine.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
That was good.
This is the July 23rd meeting. Is that a combined meeting? Okay.
Yes.
The planning board's meeting next week. There's a representative from the Bowenstein School, so the board is invited, along with council, to see what the trends are and land use. And I think we all know in this, the board of seeing what we see, it's basically residential is super hot.
You know what we don't see it here. People who go into Borough Hall with a plan, realize what they're up against, and just go away. They don't apply. And I don't know how you measure that, but we all know somebody in this town who went to Borough Hall, and since it's just not worth doing, and they just don't proceed.
About 10 years ago, we had a residential zoning subcommittee with Mike, myself, Frank Vuoso, Deirdre Rosinski, and who else? Oh, Hugh McAlevey, to try to make it easier. Like I said, I know a guy who put a deck up. The process cost him more than a deck.
Yeah, that's what happens.
And that's what I'm gonna be faced with next year. I wanna put a deck up, maybe another, maybe a window, and because it's gonna protrude out, and I only have like 10 feet between me and my neighbor, side yard variance. The house is 121 years old, so we're not 25 feet back, front yard, everything.
You trust us to make that decision?
Or you gotta come before the zoning board, they could be pretty tough.
I think I'm gonna have the Bridgewater zoning board here.
Why don't you just sneak it in like everybody else?
Well, that's what's happening.
I
Like,
know.
In your neighborhood, people are asking for forgiveness rather than ask for permission,
Yeah,
because everything that they do over there is,
everybody needs a variance.
Yeah,
Almost every
everything.
house does.
we require 50 feet frontage, and you only have 28 feet.
The whole neighborhood's built around 1900. Nobody's got.
Well, that was all part of the lottery field, what Dick Murray used to call the first urban renewal project in New Jersey, in the United States. When Samuel Davenport took all that property that he owned from High Street down to, say, Orchard, and subdivided everything into little lots, and then you wanna buy one, here's $25 for a lottery ticket. And, okay, the first one actually got his house. I know my church is on one, and all those properties were sold by lottery.
Yep.
And,
$25 a piece.
$25 a piece, yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah. And those that weren't sold, people squatted on, and eventually took over. Because I know my great-grandparents had a piece of property on Green Street, and they bought that in 1853. That was all part of that property.
My goodness.
But that's the history of this town, and so you have a whole section of town which are pre-existing non-conforming uses. And we have to address that.
Yeah, the zoning doesn't match the reality.
No, it doesn't, and that was one of the things I brought up at the last meeting, and one of the things I'd like to look at before I call it a day. Because I'm gonna be 80 years old next year. Wow. I'd like to see some things done.
Yeah, yeah, we're both running the clock, but I'd still
Yeah, we
like to, you know. This is bizarre. I mean, this tonight is.
It really is. It really is. So that looks good. That's the 23rd?
Yes, and just be aware that the planning board meets at 6, not
Right.
7. And it's live on YouTube, so you should be able to watch it on YouTube if you can find the feed. Stay home. Or, I'd like to see your faces, but you have options.
July 2-3?
Yes,
Week
July
from to-
23rd, correct.
Week from tonight, right?
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
can
it's like-
tonight, exactly, right? Yeah.
I think the presentation is going to be first. There's the Easy Mark, the convenience store, used to be the
That's,
what was it called before the Easy Mark? It was the,
It was an Amoco station,
Amoco.
really.
before, after Amico, Rich, it was,
Banner.
Banner.
No,
No,
Banner,
Banner's across
Banner
the
was
street.
God,
Across the street.
same owner.
Yeah, forgot the name.
before Easy Truck, it was called,
Quick Stop or something? I don't know.
no, it was,
Krausers?
Krausers.
It was Krausers.
There you go.
It was owned by Tom Genova, it was Krausers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that application, they're coming in to basically put a commercial kitchen in and make fast food along,
Hope it-
kitchen food.
I hope it can float.
So that application's in front of the planning board, but I think it's gonna be after, it's gonna be the presentation first. Then if you're there, you can leave, if you're not, tune in, but then that application's gonna be heard by the planning board.
I think that's going to be on August 13th, not.
Oh,
next-
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
So that's the
Okay.
meeting after.
Thank you, Ryan.
But there is a meeting next Wednesday night of the,
Correct, yeah, but it's just the Blaustein School presentation, I
All right.
believe.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, it does.
It really does.
Just to recount your history, before it was the Amoco, it was an apartment building,
Yes, it
big wood
was.
frame pile of nothing.
Remember the pizzeria that was there?
Yep, yep.
I know it was a gas station, Rich, I didn't know it was before it was
Tore the
a,
gas station, tore the apartments down and built the gas station.
That's Amoco.
Bud's Amoco.
Yeah, with Bud's Amico, yep. And the 3 gas stations across the street. What else do we have, Roy?
That's everything.
Someone like to move for adjournment?
I'll move.
Move the second.
Still should have pushed for polka dots.
All in favor?